Gold Roger, the so-called king of the pirates, whose name rings through the One Piece world with infamy, is built off one of the most well-kept secrets in the entire world, the truth behind the One Piece. The truth is, the One Piece is fabricated, and once we get to see Laugh Tale, we'll see that the Straw Hats have no treasure to gather. Roger laughing on Laugh Tale is one of the biggest questions in all of One Piece, and makes it one of the greatest scenes also. Roger initially set out on his journey to turn the world upside down. He gathered one of the greatest pirate crews seen in One Piece so far. His goal was to follow in Joy Boy's footsteps and complete what he wasn't capable of doing on his own. Throughout his journey, he's seen actively seeking out Joy Boy's knowledge to find everything he needs to know to defeat Emu. Along his journey, we see Roger learned through the poneglyphs about Joy Boy's attempt to overthrow the world's power. But towards the end of Roger's journey, he had made close to no progress on his goal, going through almost the entire Grand and Red Line with nothing to show for it. And in his desperation, he begs Whitebeard to lend him Odin to read the rest of the poneglyphs. Aftermath of Laugh Tale. Before we get into speculation of why Roger was laughing, let's look at the result of his crew after finding this so-called One Piece. Rayleigh's a drunk who coached ships, and Crocus is living in a whale in isolation, and Roger disbanded his crew and succumbed to his death willingly. We know that Rayleigh and Crocus are living their lives in preparation for Emu's plan to drown the rest of the world. But this preparation for the end of the world is more representative of giving up than perseverance. What they found that day on that final island depressed the entire crew, and Roger was only laughing from hysteria, because at the end of his journey, he had failed. All members of D are seen laughing before their deaths, and Roger's death occurred the moment he realized that he wasn't going to be able to complete his dream. The truth. So what was so depressing on this final island that it caused laughing hysteria? Well, my speculation is that Roger found Joy Boy's corpse, resulting in Roger's realization that he was trying to do the impossible. Roger didn't have access to the Gum Gum fruit. He was too early for Shirahoshi to be born. He wasn't a giant, and he didn't have Haki on the level of Joy Boy. Roger had gone in over his head and ended up dragging his entire crew down with him following his delusional dream. This is why we can see Roger reading Joy Boy's personal logbook, because he found it on Joy Boy's dead body, which I'm assuming is still intact as his straw hat has also been preserved after all this time. Roger's declaration of the One Piece, the only thing that really signifies him as Pirate King, was a lie. A lie that he hoped would inspire people to finish what he couldn't. He knew the truth was out there in the poneglyphs, and it was only a matter of time before Emu's plan was realized. So he devised the idea to tell people of a life-changing treasure they could find if they only set out to sea. This would hopefully increase their chances of survival, but maybe, just maybe, it would help them put all the pieces together to realize what Emu's doing and stop him before he's able to complete it. The optimist Roger D. Fraud had hoped that Joy Boy would have left him something, anything. If he could just make it to that final island, he would have a shot. But when he got there was nothing. His declaration of the One Piece is the same lie that he believed. His optimism that led him to his defeat is what he's instilled in thousands of pirates who have died at sea. And this is a common trope seen in some of the most popular pieces of fiction as well. It's not just some random idea. Attack on Titan depicts this through Erwin, the leader of the Scout Regiment, who sacrifices hundreds of people in hopes to find what's at the end of their world, but has to give up his life just before reaching it. And it's also in tandem with one of my favorite movies, Interstellar, with Dr. Mann, someone who made it to a planet that would sustain life. He's considered one of the greatest astronauts of all time, just like Roger's seen as a pirate. But the truth is, Dr. Mann had lied. His planet was worthless. But he couldn't accept that. So instead he told everyone that his planet was the one that could save them all. Just like Roger is telling people that the One Piece will save them. This is why only after Luffy awakens Gear 5 does Shanks say, "Let's go after the One Piece." It's not because he wants the legendary treasure to himself. It's because now he knows that they have a shot at taking down his twin brother, the Five Elders, and finally Emu. Shanks tirelessly searched for the Gum Gum fruit after the disbandment of the Roger Pirates. He knows where Laugh Tale is. He was nearly there, but he knows there's nothing there for him. He's seen wandering. He's in a constant conversation with other pirates, restlessly going from island to island in the New World, Grand Line, and East Blue. His talk with Whitebeard shows how he's really betting on Luffy to bring them into the new era. This is probably the only reason he went to Marineford, was to protect Luffy. He's somewhat of a secret puppet master, making sure all the pieces are in place for Luffy. He's seen talking to Rayleigh and Sabaody about Luffy, mentioning with optimism that Luffy's saying the same things Roger said. Shanks still has that youthful optimism that Roger once had, but he knows he's not the one who's going to stop Emu. You can believe as much as you want about Roger defraud and Roger slander, but destiny and free will are the thematic cornerstones of One Piece. Whether it be the peril of Zoro tossing up his sword risking his left arm, or Shanks losing his left arm after destiny led him to Luffy, or in contrast, free will seen in the embodiment of Gear 5 and Devil Fruits as a whole. I personally believe that Roger is a character who has free will, but in the end, his story was left up to fate or destiny. And after realizing he was destined to die, he sought to defy fate in the only way he could, by lying about the greatest treasure in the entire world, so that people like Luffy will pick up where he left off.